Welcome to the Retirement Made Easy podcast. I'm your host, Greg Gonzalez. My goal for the podcast is to help you live a better life in retirement by giving you the tools and information you need in a language that you can understand. I'm a financial advisor in St. Louis, Missouri, with clients in over 17 different states. So we get to hear people's dreams and hopes and aspirations when it comes to their retirement planning. And everybody's situation is so uniquely different that it makes the planning so personalized and so customized. And that's what makes everything come together the way it should for your successful retirement. Not your neighbors, not your brother-in-laws, not your friends, but your successful retirement. We're always trying to make recommendations and implement different strategies that increase your probability of having a successful retirement, of reaching those goals. And sometimes it's the little things that you do that get you 1 or 2 steps closer to success. So on today's episode, I wanted to talk about a couple different strategies or things you might think of that can help you have a more secure and successful retirement. And sometimes it's the things that you do at the very end leading up to your retirement date that really can make a big difference. So we're going to talk about those on today's show. We're also going to answer a few of your questions, listener questions. So if you do have a question, go to our website, which is retirementmadeeasypodcast.com. It's a mouthful, but it's retirementmadeeasypodcast.com. There you can check out previous episodes. You can download free resources we have available. You can submit your questions for the podcast. So we've got 2 or 3 that we'll cover in today's episode. So check out our website and feel free to send us any hate mail or feedback that you might have right there on the website. We always love hearing from listeners, and you're the reason why we do this podcast in the first place. So don't be shy. If we can help you with your own retirement questions, you know where to find us. Now, let's jump into today's topic for those people that may be close to retirement and maybe want to dot all their I's, cross all their T's, and tie up any loose ends as they approach retirement. Because it's kind of like, imagine you were selling your house and your real estate agent said, if you fixed up this bathroom or did this to the kitchen, it would really, really enhance the overall value of your house. So maybe it's new paint or something like that. And by putting $1,000 or $2,000 here or there into improvements in your home, what it will do is really drastically affect the outcome. And by that, I mean your house may sell quicker, or you may get a better sale price for your home based on the improvements that you made. And it even could be maybe the inspections. The house inspector, the home inspector may find some things that need to be improved before the sales contract will actually go through. So by making those improvements before the house goes on the market, you can be 1 step ahead. And it could be something as simple as fixing some of the lighting or improving the landscaping. Whatever it might be, these are little finishing touches that just improve the overall showing of your home. And at the end of the day, all you care about is the outcome. You want probably your house to not be on the market for a year or 6 months. You want it to sell right away and at a good selling price. So the outcome is what you are looking for, a positive outcome. It's the same thing with retirement. You want a successful retirement and a successful transition into retirement. So what can we do in the months leading up to retirement to improve our odds of having a nice transition, a successful transition? Well, I don't know about your unique personal situation, but I can give you instances and examples of clients and what they have done leading up to their retirement. So one of them that comes to mind is a lot of people like to take advantage of that 401k catch-up, or maybe it's a Roth IRA catch-up. And so they'll max out their retirement accounts before retirement, just to give them that extra boost to their overall retirement nest egg. That's one thing that comes to mind. Another thing is they'll look at their HSA if they have that available to them. Maybe they're retiring before age 65, which is Medicare eligibility age. So they'll want to max out their HSA or consider maxing out their HSA in that year or two prior to retirement. It's all about trying to improve your odds of success. Another example that I see over and over again with pre-retirees as they take that next step into retirement is with their mortgage or any debts. I like seeing people go into retirement without a home mortgage because they can live on less money every month and without any consumer debt, be it credit cards or car loans. I like to see those all paid off. So a lot of people look at their debt and they want to clean up a lot of that debt in the years and months leading up to their retirement. Another thing to think about is what can you get rid of or what can you cancel because you won't be working anymore? One thing comes to mind is maybe a disability insurance policy. So a lot of people, as they get close to retirement, they cancel those disability insurance policies and also sometimes life insurance policies. Depending on your situation, a lot of times people carry life insurance to protect their spouse and their family should they pass away prematurely. Right? While they're working, they've got the earning ability and you're trying to protect that cash flow with life insurance. Well, in a lot of instances, upon retirement, you no longer need that life insurance. And again, it'll depend on your situation and your goals. But in a lot of instances, people will cancel those life insurance policies now that the income is not there to protect anymore. Another thing, and you'll want to look at this months ahead of time, is how you're going to handle your health insurance in retirement. Are you going to jump on COBRA for 18 months after you retire and then skip over to Medicare? What about your spouse? Are they going to be on COBRA? Or do you have health insurance through something like a union where retirees have that health insurance coverage to bridge the gap between now and Medicare? Or are you going to be eligible to just stay on Medicare and you're all taken care of? Those are things that you need to consider and think about months ahead of time. Maybe you're going to be looking at like Obamacare or private health insurance until you hit Medicare eligible age of 65. But that needs to all be worked out and well thought of ahead of time. And same with pensions and Social Security. You need to have a plan of action of when you're going to initiate those benefits and where they're going to come into play. Are you going to withhold taxes? That kind of thing. Maybe it's an old pension that is offering a partial lump sum. We even have many clients that get paid out on their vacation and sick days. And so they may get a check upon retirement of $15,000. I've seen as much as $25,000 for a firefighter that we had as a client. So that money is going to be taxable. Some people can put that in their 401k or their employer retirement plan, a portion of it. Some people use that money, pay the taxes on it, and they use that as their retirement vacation. I'll take one step back when it comes to Social Security claiming. So let's say you're going to claim your benefit upon retirement. Well, really, you need to either go to the Social Security office or go online to claim your benefit up to 90 days before your anticipated retirement date. So go ahead and get that all started. Don't wait until you retire because it will be a couple months until you get your first Social Security check. We even came up with a retirement checklist, so to speak, kind of like a grocery list of things that you can start checking off the list as you prepare for retirement. So you can know, okay, I got this straightened out. I've got this checked off my list, and just keep going down in order. And then you'll be all set once your retirement checklist is all completed. So I would highly encourage you to start that, to create your own retirement checklist of things that need to be all straightened out and taken care of before you retire. And that'll give you hopefully it'll give you the peace of mind you're looking for in that crucial transition phase. And the reason I wanted to bring this up, this past topic of what can you do to improve your odds of success in the months leading up to retirement, is I have people that call me all the time saying, oh, I'm retiring next week or next month. And I'm looking at what they have going on, their retirement picture. And I'm thinking to myself, gosh, I wish you would have called me 2 years ago, because there's a lot of things that we would have cleaned up to improve your situation over the last 24 months. But now it's too late. There's only so much we can do in the weeks leading up to your retirement date. So these are all things that you want to consider, that you want to start digging into and asking for advice and getting help, so everything's clear and you're comfortable moving into that next season of your life, which we call retirement. This next segment of the podcast, I wanted to help answer some questions that I've been receiving from the website, which is retirementmadeeasypodcast.com, retirementmadeeasypodcast.com. If you have questions I can help with, at the bottom of the webpage, it says Ask Greg a Question. You can submit your question and I'll get back with you. And some of these I'll use for future podcasts. So Philip asked me a question, sent an email just a couple weeks ago. And his message said, Greg, can you give me specifics as far as investment holdings that someone might have to produce income in retirement? I'm 65 years old, on the verge of retirement, and I want to know how my portfolio should look based on what you're recommending to other people. I have never heard you give specific investment advice as far as investment holdings on previous podcasts. Why is that? Philip, that's a great question. I'm going to address the latter question first. So why I cannot give or refuse to give specific investment and portfolio advice to the listeners of the podcast. Well, the reason is simple. Without knowing your specific situation and what you're trying to accomplish, it would be a disservice to you and all the other listeners for me to spell out a specific portfolio that might be appropriate for you. All I know about you is your name is Philip and you're 65 and approaching retirement. That's all I know. I don't know, do you need income from your portfolio? What other sources of income might you have? What's the value of your portfolio? Is it 401k money? Or are we talking about maybe non-qualified or brokerage money? There's just so many different things that I don't know about your situation. And it would be unfair and unproductive for me to try to guess any of that. So that's why I don't give specific portfolio recommendations on the podcast. I hope that helps. It's kind of like you're at a dinner party and you hear that there's a doctor there. And you go up to the doctor and you say, hey, I'm having chest pains. What should I take? Well, the doctor might say, and let's say it's a general practitioner. Well, I don't know. Until we did a full analysis, an exam to see what, is it heartburn? Do you have a broken rib? Until we do a full analysis, I can't tell you what kind of medication to take. That wouldn't be fair. Or if you went up to a mechanic and said, hey, in order to give prudent advice, we got to open up the hood to see what's going on and see the full picture. And aside from that, what we recommend for you, Philip, is going to be different than we probably recommend for someone else because maybe their age is different, their goals are different, their risk tolerance is much different. Those are some factors that will dictate what we recommend to somebody. So there's no cookie cutter portfolio that you can say every 65-year-old gets this portfolio because I said so. That's very, very foolish and unwise. And quite frankly, the portfolio wouldn't be customized to you and your goals, Philip. So I'm sorry I can't give a portfolio recommendation over the podcast without knowing more information about you. Your portfolio really needs to address and be in sync with your wants, needs, and wishes that you have. And if it's not helping you get closer to your goals, well, then it's not positioned properly. So I guess that would be the first step, is to figure out more about you, Philip, to be able to determine what's appropriate for you. And another thing is, let's say I did come up with a portfolio that was appropriate for you, Philip, knowing all that stuff. There are some investments that you can only utilize through a financial advisor. In other words, if you were doing your own investing through a brokerage firm or a discount brokerage firm, you wouldn't even be able to get these investments anyway because you're not working with a financial advisor. So I don't know how productive that would be. It's kind of like if I needed an antibiotic, I can't go to Walgreens or CVS and just get my antibiotic. I have to have a prescription through a physician, and he or she has to write me a script. Then I take it to Walgreens or CVS. They fill the script for my antibiotic, and then I can go home and take it. Now, there are some people that say, oh, Greg, you don't need an antibiotic. There's all this over-the-counter medication that you can take. And I'm here to tell you, in my opinion, it's not the same. So, Philip, that's another reason why it's probably best that we don't give specific investment advice over the podcast to people, because some of the investments they might not be able to utilize anyway unless they're working with a trusted financial advisor, just like I can't get an antibiotic unless I go through my doctor. The next question comes from Jeff, and Jeff has a question about his pension lump sum or taking the annual annuity option from his pension. It says, Greg, I am 68 years old. I am divorced, and I have 2 children that are financially sufficient and doing quite well. My question is I'm nearing retirement and I have an offer of a lump sum of my pension. It would be close to $1 million or a lifetime annuity option, which is $52,000. Would you walk me through your thought process as far as what might be the best option for me to take? I am leaning towards one option, but I want to get your thoughts. Jeff, first of all, thank you for your question and for visiting our website and allowing us to use this question on the podcast. This is an excellent question. So Jeff said he's 68 years old. He is divorced. So when I hear divorced, so he's not able to have a survivor benefit, meaning the pension or annuity would not pay out for anybody's life except his own at that point. Once you're divorced, it won't pay out for your ex-spouse. It'll only pay out for your current spouse or yourself. So if Jeff took the $52,000 annuity option, the single life annuity, it would only pay for his life, right? And I think what Jeff is trying to do here is maximize the lifetime benefit of this money, of this pension. So is he better off taking $1 million and rolling that into either his 401k or a self-directed rollover IRA where he has control of it and can invest it and manage it the way he sees fit? Or is he better off taking a $52,000 guaranteed check every year for the rest of his life? So I can't give specific advice to Jeff because I don't know other questions like what other resources he has. But what I will be able to do is kind of talk around the different options and what might be going through my head, what other additional questions I would want to ask Jeff. So Jeff, the first thing I would look at is, okay, what are your goals? Do you want to make sure there's a legacy to leave to your 2 children who you said are financially astute? Or do you not care if you leave any kind of inheritance for your 2 children? Does that not matter to you? If you told me it was important to you personally to be able to leave a legacy and an inheritance to your children, then I would kind of course, start leaning towards more of the lump sum option. But my next question would be, what about life insurance? Do you have any existing life insurance that might take care of that already or be in place to take care of that already? So that's something I don't know. That's an unknown at this point. But some people have that in place, and that life insurance takes care of that goal already. Another thing, just being as candid as possible here, is, Jeff, I would want to look at your health. How are you doing health-wise? Because if you did take the annual annuity pension option, it's only going to pay for as long as you're on this earth, unless maybe there's a 10-year certain option, which may be a better solution. With the 10-year certain, for anybody who's wondering when I say that, so single life means it would pay $52,000 as long as Jeff is still with us. When Jeff passes away, the pension stops. With a 10-year certain, Jeff might not get the entire $52,000 a year. Let's say he only gets $48,000 a year. But it would pay out to either Jeff or his beneficiaries for the next 10 years. So let's say worst case scenario, heaven forbid, Jeff gets hit by a bus in year 2. Well, for the next 8 years, his 2 children, his beneficiaries, would get $48,000 for the next 8 years. At the end of the 10 years, the pension would stop at that point. So there's a lot of people that look at, okay, what's the break even? If I take $52,000 a year or $1 million up front, what's my break even? And I kind of did the math. It's basically over 19 years, Jeff would have to survive for the $52,000 annual pension to be worth it. So Jeff, if you did go that route, the $52,000 annual pension, I would probably want to make sure that you either looked at the 10-year certain or that you had life insurance in place just in case you didn't make the 19 years due to a premature death. The other thing about taking the lump sum option and rolling that over into a rollover self-directed IRA or a 401k is you want to make sure you're investing that money wisely and prudently, because at that point, that's what you're going to have to live on for the rest of your life and provide the care and the resources and the cash flow that you need. Because if that money, if that $1 million lump sum is frittered away because of unwise investment choices or bad spending problems, whatever it may be, once the money's gone, it's gone. So you'll want to be careful with that, invest it wisely, maybe have a financial advocate in your corner. So there's a lot of blanks to Jeff's situation, such as his goals, his objectives, his income needs in retirement, and other resources such as retirement savings, maybe real estate and other assets. There's a lot we don't know, so it's hard to give a specific answer, but hopefully I've been able to help Jeff out with kind of my thought process around his situation here. I had a school teacher in high school that every Friday as we were leaving her class, she would say, "Make good decisions this weekend." And then she would point you out, Mr. Gonzalez or Mr. Smith. And I kind of think of her when I think of someone getting this $1 million lump sum pension check. Because I have in my life heard of stories where people get this big pension lump sum check and they spend through it in the first 5-10 years of their retirement, kind of like a lottery winner. And then there's nothing for the rest of their life. They have a miserable retirement because they made bad choices with that big lump sum check. And once you do that, there's no going back. So if you do take that lump sum pension check, be careful, invest it wisely, and do a lot of planning, and you'll be in great shape. Hey, I hope this episode of the Retirement Made Easy podcast has been helpful. If you have retirement questions of your own, visit my website, retirementmadeeasypodcast.com. I'll be happy to help you out, just like the other listeners. Until next time, remember, always dream big. The opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, please consult your attorney, tax advisor, or financial advisor prior to investing. This is a hypothetical example and is not representative of any specific investment. Your results may vary. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices mentioned are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. The SmartVestor program is a directory of investment professionals. Neither Dave Ramsey nor SmartVestor are affiliates of St. Louis Retirement Advisors or LPL Financial. There is no guarantee that a diversified portfolio will enhance overall returns or outperform a non-diversified portfolio. Diversification does not protect against market risk. All investing involves risk, including loss of principal. No strategy assures success or protects against loss. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA, SIPC.